look at that as well.
This comes as many of you are still cleaning up after last night's severe weather. We're learning more from the city of Albany about just how much damage was left behind.
And one Albany staple is asking for help.
We were able to keep most of our equipment in terms of lighting and sound safe, which was really fortunate.
Park Playhouse took a hard hit from those strong winds in Washington Park in Albany. What you need to know about, how the show can still go on.
And in other news, we're learning the fire that devastated a meat processing plant in Whitehall was an accident. What we now know led to the building going up in flames.
And teaching children how to stay safe in the real world and the virtual world. This is ahead of an annual event to raise awareness about missing children in the capital region.
And how the Saratoga Springs community will come together to cheer for Charlie. I'm Mark Mulholland.
I'm Sabrina Dhami. Live at 4 starts right now.
From WNYT Albany, News Channel 13 Live at 4 begins right now.
Good afternoon, everyone. News just coming in of more storm damage, including a tree on a home in Clifton Park. Meteorologist Reed Kisselback is on his way there right now.
Yeah, thousands of people don't have power right now, with most of those in Albany County. More than 2,600 customers are out, the bulk in the town of Bethlehem. Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Paul Cano, who's been tracking all of this. Paul, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mark. Good afternoon, Sabrina. Yeah, those earlier storms did a number on parts of the region, but we're going to focus on what's going on outside right now, at least in the immediate term. Here's the shot from Pittsfield looking west over the state line into New York, where we have a severe storm heading right on into Berkshire County. On the CDPHP first warning cam, rain cooled air at 75 degrees. And you can see that flashing box. That's an indication of the warning that's in effect now. It's been cut back for Route 22 in New York as the storm has jumped over the state boundary and now into entirely Berkshire County from Pittsfield south toward the Mass Pike. Exit 3, exit 10 on the Mass Pike, Lenox, Lee, the outlets all getting hit hard with the severe storm right now. You can see right along 183. You see the red and the orange color right in the center of the screen, right along the Mass Pike from the state line out toward Lee. We are seeing very heavy rain, ponding of water on area roadways, and this storm could contain wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. A ton of lightning with it, too. Just about a dozen in the last few moments, and up to 46 now with this storm in particular. You can see the new flashes in yellow pop up on the screen. So a pretty decent-sized storm now heading over the state line and into Berkshire County. We'll take a look at some of the places that are up next for some heavy rain and wind. Pittsfield at 4:06, so coming up. Washington 4:09. Beckett at 4:12. Heads up there out toward Jacobs Pillow. Dalton 4:13 and Blush Hollow at 4:16. The bigger picture shows how these storms erupted, and I want to turn your attention to Saratoga County because this is the one that developed out by the Great Sacandaga Lake. Watch it here. It's going to move slow right over southern Saratoga County, and that's the one that hit Clifton Park pretty hard about 60 to 90 minutes ago, and it took down some trees. So that's where Reed is headed now. We're going to hear from him hopefully sooner rather than later and get an assessment of some of that storm damage. Meantime, the rain has cooled the air off a bit. We were close to 90 before the storms hit, and now we're back into the 70s, and it looks like we'll hang out in the high 70s to near 80 for the rest of the afternoon. We'll continue to track these storms, bring you any additional warnings as they pop up, and talk more about the weekend weather for you. And guess what? More storms in the forecast for the weekend as well. Details in just a bit, guys.
All of a sudden, just like all of us, we were caught in the middle of a pretty severe wind and rainstorm.
Those are the storms from yesterday, and at the time it was happening, you couldn't really tell how bad it was or how widespread.
But when the rain ended and the wind stopped blowing, the scope of the storm and the path of destruction through the heart of Albany came into plain view. Dan Levy visited the storm zone today, where he discovered an unscripted twist to a theatrical dilemma.
The summer of 2024 will go down as the summer that began in the middle of a 90-degree heat wave. It will also be remembered as the day when hundreds of trees and tree limbs came crashing to the ground here in Washington Park. The damage was widespread. Everywhere you'd look, you would see previously magnificent maples reduced to mangled splinters in the grass. At the south end of the park, that's where Mother Nature delivered a show-stopping number on opening night of the Park Playhouse production of The Marvelous Wonderettes, blowing through just 2 hours before curtain time, angrily forcing the set design to exit stage left.
Yeah, it's disheartening for sure, but it's not discouraging because I know that my responsibility now is to respond so that my team can get to do the show that they've all been working on too.
Soon after daybreak, production and operations manager Dennis Strange had his cast and crew working center stage to repair the scenery and make sure the curtain can come up later tonight.
I believe that the work that these 4 people have been doing on stage and the creative team has done certainly is worthy of a showstopper, but I hope that we can start the show before we get another showstopper number going on.
Meanwhile, all across the city, there were other reminders of the powerful straight-line winds that ravaged this region. At St. Joseph's Church on Tenbrook Street, part of the steeple came crashing down on a rooftop. The church has been boarded up for decades. In the city's warehouse district, rainwater began cascading from the upper floors of this 80-unit apartment building, chasing residents outside.
I live up on 3 in this hallway here, and I was getting ready to eat dinner, and it sounded like a bomb went off.
Back at the Playhouse, it was time to transform a destructive night of reality back into enjoyable fiction.
We persist. It's our 36th season here. It's not going to be our last.
Now that Mother Nature's rudeness has been left behind and quick repairs have been made to the stage, the theater tradition lives on. The show will go on. In Albany, with coverage you can trust, Dan Levy, News Channel 13.
The storm not only did